Yes, everyone, welcome back to Forever United TV Wednesday morning, bringing you all of your Manchester United news and updates in and around the club, on and off the pitch. We have plenty to get through again. Last night we were talking about the Martinez situation. Now, several sources talking about him actually moving to Manchester United. It's moved on from there. There is more important things going on at Manchester United, namely the striker situation that we all want to get sorted. We do have an update on Bryan Mbeumo, but on the whole striker front and everything that's happening with the ins and the outs, obviously Manchester United at the moment looking to move on 4 forwards in Anthony, Rashford, Sancho and Garnacho. We do need replacements coming in. Expecting Bryan Mbeumo, like we said, we'll update you on that in a moment. But also Manchester United targets and surprising targets. Nicolas Jackson from Chelsea. Get into the comment section on that one. This has definitely riled a few Manchester United fans. Is there anyone out there that actually thinks going for Nicolas Jackson is a good move for United? I'm going to talk about the reports that have come about and everything that's been said on Jackson, where this story's come from, and why Manchester United might actually be going for him. On top of that as well, updates on Jadon Sancho and Estepinian as well from Brighton. That has resurfaced again with genuine actual contact made, apparently, according to Ben Jacobs. So all that to get through in the show today. Let's get started with the big one. Let's start with Nicolas Jackson. That, I think, is the biggest one because that's the one that's caused the big social media stir right now. And from what I have seen, it has been a resounding no for many Manchester United fans in taking Nicolas Jackson. So where did this story come from? Why is it circulating? Well, there is genuine interest apparently from Manchester United in Nicolas Jackson. Now, we've heard about Ben Jacobs, we've heard a couple of other journalists talk about this, but Pete Hall also came in last night, who I've talked about quite a bit on the show. He's a journalist that follows Manchester United. He says that Manchester United really do have an interest in Nicolas Jackson because they know of the situation at Chelsea right now and Chelsea needing to let go of players. I don't think we should be going for a player just because a football club is in need of getting rid of players. Manchester United, like I've said all along, have to be clever with this transfer window. We're up against it, backs against the wall, and things are not going too well at the moment. But if you were to bring in Nicolas Jackson to Manchester United, then you are going to have to really deal with the... Let's say, is outrage the right word from the fan base? I've put a poll up already on the show today this morning. If you are playing catch up later on and you're not live and you can't get involved in the poll, please do get your comments in below and let me know. Do you think Manchester United should be going for someone like Nicolas Jackson from Chelsea? The poll early doors, I think you can guess it's going one way. If you want to get your poll and you get your vote on the poll, you are live, you want to have your influence on this, get into that now and let me know what you think. It's a simple yes or no. Nicolas Jackson at United. There you go. 78% at the moment, early knockings on this poll, are saying no to Nicolas Jackson. That was the general social media outlook on it last night as well, when this story was circulating and doing the rounds. Why would we be going for it? Now, I don't want to take anything away from Nicolas Jackson. I don't want to take anything away from the fact that he has done... Oh, well, he had an alright season, didn't he? But are we not just doing the same thing again? 24, I think he got 10 Premier League goals last season. That's what he got. He struggled to get going at Chelsea. Had a great start to the season last season. Hit the ground running. You'll remember the games where he played. I think he got off to a great start. I think it was Wolves. I remember that game that he did well in. There was a couple of others as well early doors last season. And then he just petered off. And sort of like disappeared again. And then the uncertainty of selection and what Chelsea are actually doing and how many players they've got to choose from actually started to really surface last season. And he drifted away. His form was affected. Now Chelsea have bought in Delap. Now Chelsea have bought in João Pedro. I don't see Nicolas Jackson getting any game time at all at Chelsea. Them two are going to be vying for that front spot up front. And again, it's going to be a case of... Do Chelsea need to sell him to balance the books because of everything else that's going on? Obviously, they have got a certain guideline to fit into with UEFA. I'm not saying that they're going to struggle PSR-wise in the Premier League, but they have just been fined by UEFA, obviously. And being in the Champions League, they're going to want to work within the financial fair play side of things for UEFA because that's who they've just been. That's who they've just been fined by. That's who they've just come under the rule of, and it's it's going to be an interesting one overall with Chelsea and what they do in moving players out. Could there be a case where Manchester United come in and say, well, how about this? If United are that desperate, would you take Nicolas Jackson on loan? I've asked this before about many players at United. Will we go out and try and find a striker on loan? Is that something we would do? Look, I don't want him. I'm with everybody else. Just want to make that clear. But the question will be asked. Are Manchester United going to go down the road of looking for a player, or looking at a player, that really has, you could say he's got the Premier League experience a couple of years in, but hasn't really shone in the Premier League. Because he's played in the Premier League, I don't think that makes a Premier League player. You could say that Rasmus Højlund is Premier League experienced. He's just been crap in the Premier League. And that, again, I think falls into the category of Nicolas Jackson. Well, not crap. And that's a disrespect again there. But I'm sorry. I'm underwhelmed massively by this. And this news that Manchester United could actually be looking at him. Now Pete Hall, the journalist, actually works close with Manchester United. I've seen him at loads of different press conferences. I've mentioned him before plenty of times. For him to be saying that Nicolas Jackson is even on Manchester United's list, I think kind of shows how desperate Manchester United are actually looking at the window right now. They would say that United would be open to bidding for Nicolas Jackson because they think Chelsea might be desperately in need of trying to flog him or sell him, and that would bring his price down. Now, the price that Chelsea have actually put on Nicolas Jackson's head at the moment, the only one that I have heard is 60 million. Now, I'm sorry, that obviously doesn't even need talking about because that's going to be nowhere near what Manchester United are ever going to pay for a striker. You've probably got a better chance of Dominic Calvert-Lewin being a United player than Nicolas Jackson at that point. If you're talking that kind of numbers, United just can't afford that type of player. That, I think, again, if United did raise the money to actually buy a player, would enrage the Man United fans even more because you're wasting that money that you've worked so hard and struggled to get all summer for selling certain deadbeat players and put it onto Nicolas Jackson. That would be sending everybody over the top completely when it comes to what Manchester United are doing in this window right now. And again, it just wouldn't make United any better, would it? It really wouldn't. I mean, you look at it there and you cannot say that Nicolas Jackson coming in is going to make Manchester United a more formidable force up front. Look, he might fit into the system. I'm thinking outside of the box. You just never know. But United haven't got time to go with you never knows. They're going with dead certs and that's it. That's what their window is based around. I cannot honestly see many players coming in after, and hopefully we do get Bryan Mbeumo over the line. The striker, I don't think is going to be a big signing for United. I don't think it's going to be an expensive one. It could be big in who we pick, and obviously we'll make our headlines about that ourselves, and we'll all debate whether we think it's the right move or not. But still, I think Manchester United right now are being very cautious with that striker now that their top targets are gone. I just don't see United spending anything more than 30 million on someone of the quality of Nicolas. No, in fact, I don't see United spending anything on Nicolas Jackson. If we went and bought him, I would question everything again about Manchester United, Ineos, where we're going. Don't waste that money. I'd rather not have a striker than go out and spend the money that Chelsea want for Nicolas Jackson. That's my opinion on him, and that's where I think United should leave it. There is no way that Manchester United should be spending anywhere near. I think Nicolas Jackson, market value, I think he is probably pushing a 25, 30 million pound player at best. That's it. And the Premier League record proves it. It's as simple as that. Like, you look at that and you go, is he worth that amount of money? I'm sorry, no, he's not. You can talk about what Chelsea have done. Club World Cup winners, qualified for the Champions League, Conference League winners. He contributed to that. Yeah, so did Jadon Sancho, and you paid 5 million to get rid of him. He did more than Nicolas Jackson last season when it comes to goal contributions. So, again, like, where are we at with this? Let's be realistic. And I just don't see this having... I'm surprised, is what I am, I think. This has actually shocked me that Manchester United are even considering this as a potential transfer going forward. I don't see how. And he's a bit of a trouble causer. He's a bit of a loose cannon as well. Remember the old scenario about spitting his dummy out with a penalty? A couple of seasons ago with Conor Gallagher and Cole Palmer, about everything that was going on, the fight on the pitch. Honestly, I don't want players like that in my side. I really don't. And I just don't. I can't see it. I'm absolutely blown away if United are even interested in the slightest. In this. Let's get some opinion on this now, and let's see what you're all saying. First of all, let's get a couple of super chats in the early knock-ins. I'm pretty confident as well that I know where this actual opinion is going to go on Nicolas Jackson anyway. But Manny sets us off. Jackson, really? When Vlahovic is on a free, this story is BS. I hope it is, mate. I'm just reporting on what people are actually talking about out there right now. And a lot of United fans are with the same opinion as you, mate. Lee in Cape Town, thank you, mate, again. Morning, everyone. We did not forget the Mason Mount saga as well as Jadon Sancho, so Chelsea can do one unless our board are brain dead. That might be a conversation. No, I'm joking. Jim the Rat is using United to fund his real club. Chelsea. Get that one. Sean, oh, mate. No, I know. That, again, like, do you know what? Even what Sean says there, that's not even a real story. It's not. And he knows it's not as well. But it makes United fans just go down this road of coming out with different negative comments. It's just, you can tell, even with it not directly involved in Nicolas Jackson, and we're joking about it, it just sends United fans off. And it puts United fans off anything that they're trying to actually build. God, I'm with everyone so far, by the way. I thought this was where it was going to go. You won't have a striker this side of the window, Adam, unless we grab Vlahovic on a free. That's the lay of the land. Don't forget the other free agents that are floating around, mate, that could come in towards the back end of this transfer window. Over 1,000 votes already. 77% of you have said no to Nicolas Jackson. Bradley says, I really think Amorim is going to struggle because these owners will drown him. Ross says, who else we getting? ? We can't go another season with Højlund. If we do, we are doomed. We can't waste the money as well. We can't waste the money on a player that we could probably use next summer to get somebody else in. Let's see what else we've got here. If United signs Nicolas Jackson and the Glazers and Ineos out, that's all I will say. I think there's a lot of people just saying that now already, mate. Even without signing Nicolas Jackson, this would send everybody over the top. I remember Ferguson saying, I wouldn't sell them a virus. We need this approach with Chelsea from United again, says Cole. Yeah, I really do think that Manchester United, I can't remember who it said. I think it was Lee from Cape Town who said Chelsea can do one. We need to start playing hardball back with them. They have shafted us so many times. They really have. Okay, let's move on quickly. In terms of the realistic Manchester United news, obviously Bryan Mbeumo, we know and we want to get an update on him and where we're actually at. The most significant update on this that I can bring you for Bryan Mbeumo is that apparently Brentford have made a bid now for Omari Hutchinson. And it's in the region of £35 million. Now, he plays predominantly on the right and in the middle. Very similar position to Bryan Mbeumo. Now, I'm not saying he's a direct replacement for Mbeumo, but you put everything on the table and you look at everything, it looks like he is. It looks like this is an Mbeumo replacement from Brentford. This news had just come out this morning. By the way, if you're going to spend this amount of money, which, by the way, is a club record transfer fee for Brentford, if they sign him for this much money, Omari Hutchinson would be a record transfer for Brentford. You're not going to buy that player in and not play him when he's a record. That, I think, says everything. Now, I don't know if they're doing this just because the news is about to break today on that new investment coming in, as in a stake in Brentford is being sold to American owners for about 400 million. So Brentford are not shy of a quid or two at the moment either. It all pushes Manchester United to get a bleeding move on with this transfer right now. It really does. We need this to actually go through so we can start moving forward. But Omari Hutchinson for 35 million. Wow. Jesus. That's a lot of money for a championship player right now. And again, record transfer for Brentford. You're not going to leave him on the bench, are you? Yes, he's versatile. He plays on the left. He plays in the centre, he plays on the right. He plays in the positions that Bryan Mbeumo plays in predominantly. And most of his career performances and appearances have been on the right-hand side and in that central role. So it does look like, on paper, this is a replacement. You could argue the point it might not be because he's so versatile, but honestly, looking at it, it does look that way. I think you'll see Sade on the left-hand side. It would be Hutchinson and then Visa in the middle if Mbeumo was sold. Look, I'm putting all of this together. The most significant bit of news from this is the fact that Brentford are about to break their club transfer record on a player that plays in the same position as what Bryan Mbeumo does. So that's how I'm looking at this one at the moment. And I think that this is something that we have to obviously look at and say, in a confident way, maybe this is Brentford preparing and we could be getting a big update coming on Bryan Mbeumo. Look, I'm not clinging on to anything significantly at the moment regarding Bryan Mbeumo. This deal will happen when it happens now, or if it doesn't. I'm really not bothered. I'm just going to bring up the news which comes out around Mbeumo or definitely has an effect on the Mbeumo deal to Manchester United. But this, I think, is probably the most significant bit of news we've had in about 2 or 3 weeks. If Brentford are about to break their transfer record and bring in Hutchinson to play where Mbeumo plays, you could kind of think that Mbeumo is going. So, again, smart business from Brentford. Well played, getting a player in, getting somebody there ready to go who's young and he's obviously got a little bit of Premier League experience. Pressure won't be on him. Smart, getting someone in as someone's about to leave, and you'll still have change on top of that as well to improve the squad. So let's just see how this one develops. But yeah, that's the story going around on Bryan Mbeumo this morning. That's the one that most people are talking about with any sort of real connection to the Mbeumo deal actually happening at Manchester United. So yeah, that is where we're at. Adam, this means Mbeumo is still available to United. Milton, you would think that way, mate. These 2 days straight now with being pissed off with United and their moves. Only 2, Mark. Mark Eamon says United only option now is to loan with option or / obligation to buy next summer and add a sweetener bonus if United make top 4. United do have to be clever in the market. I've talked about the loan situation and everything that's happening in this market right now. And maybe when you get to the back end of the transfer window, you could maybe offer a loan with obligation if a certain stipulation has been triggered or something like that. For instance, I've said it before. Manny, thanks for the super chat, mate, but it's disappeared off the screen. I don't know what happened there. Let's just see what else we've got in there. Come back again in a minute, mate. I've said it before with Benjamin Sesko. Now, Sesko has just turned down 2 or 3 offers, apparently, according to the reports recently to the Saudi Pro League. He is staying in Europe. If he's moving to a club in Europe. Manchester United are monitoring the situation of Benjamin Sesko. I said this before. Don't count out a move for Benjamin Sesko. Don't count out Manchester United actually doing something like that, like a loan. Like put a loan fee down and put an obligation in or something like that. Try and be clever with the transfer. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just thinking with the connections United have got, obviously Graham Bailey was talking about it yesterday as well, about Manchester United still monitoring the situation with Sesko. Don't count it out. He's very, very expensive according to what's actually been reported so far this summer and way out of Manchester United's financial league unless we can sell some serious players. But then again, that is a lot of money on a player that wasn't probably in your top 2/3 options as a striker. And I'm saying that because we know about Gyökeres and Delap. That's an awful lot of money. Now, an unproven striker could actually come to Manchester United on loan and then we've not got that commitment. If United are going to act like the team that they're acting like right now, like a mid-table team, then loans might have to be an option for United going forward. And we're going to have to be very, very clever with it. So, yeah, it's about time United actually started to hit that loan market and try and get some deals over the line instead of it being the other way around. Wake up early tomorrow, Adam, and focus on the number 19. No idea what you're talking about there, mate. No idea. Elaborate, please, on that one. Glenn also says, thank you again, mate. On Jackson's story, it's likely only if Ghana goes in the other direction. Not sure if that would send the fans off the deep end, though, even more. Yeah, it would. I'll tell you right now for nothing. It would. Jackson, no, he's all right, but too injured and just not a top striker. I don't think he's too badly injured, mate. I'm not even worried about that, to be honest, with him. I just don't want United to go in for him, Cal. Oh, you mean Mbumo? Right, as the 19. Got you. Right, why do you have to go in code? Just say Mbumo. I get it, though. Thanks for that. But, yeah, I mean... honestly, with the striker thing, again, I'll stand by what I've said before. I don't think we're going to get one in until August. Nothing's going to happen in July. Like we fly out in less than a week to America, and that's going to be another 10 days away for Manchester United, and then we come back first week of August. Fiorentina friendly is there, and then you're looking at scrambling around for deals then when clubs get a bit desperate before the start of the season, even more desperate then after the season starts, and then you start to look into what you can actually make happen, loan or cheap buy wise, free agent wise. It gets a bit crazy. Brace yourselves for Manchester United's August, because what's happened in July and nothing happening at all in it has been a massive disappointment. And everybody is obviously raging and upset within the fan base, quite rightly so. And now we're looking at what's going to happen in August and looking at it a little bit fearful, because it could be players that we really don't want. When you're getting into the latter stages of the transfer window and you haven't got everyone in and you're going into like closer to deadline day, it just shouts out unorganised, not prepared. And it gets a bit desperate. That's what it cries out, doesn't it? And that's where United are heading right now. Everything is leading to a madness of the last few weeks of the transfer window for United in scraping around trying to get what deals we can get done. And it all goes back to what I've said many a times now. Ruben Amorim saying 2 players, 2 big signings. And that's Mbumo and Cunha. And then everything else, God knows. They're the squad fillers. That's what it is then. They're squad fillers at that point. Yeah, but just quickly, again, anyone who is wondering why we're talking about Mbumo with no significant news coming in, we just broke the news. Well, it's not breaking news, but it's kind of important around the Brian Mbumo situation in that Brentford have apparently, or people are saying, have bid 35 million for Amari Hutchinson, which would be a club record transfer fee for Brentford to play in a position that Brian Mbumo plays in. That, I think, is probably, like we said before, the most significant update on Brian Mbumo. Even though it's not directly Brian Mbumo, it's linked to him. Could we get movements before? I don't think Brian Mbumo is going to feature at all on Man United's tour. That's what I'm saying right now on that one. But hey, keep your comments coming in on that. Let's move on to the next story. And Alfredo Padula has put his neck on the block. He really has with these comments recently that he's come out with. I was going to talk about this a bit more, but more developed overnight regarding Jadon Sancho. So, Juventus have bought Conceição. The deal is done. And this now was the main transfer that they were going for. Sancho is going to be a second transfer for Juventus. It was Conceição first, that was the top target. A bid in excess of 30 million euros has gone in and has been accepted. And so he is moving to Juventus, but they have always talked about 2 wingers coming in at Juventus if they can move players on. And they are getting busy with moving players around Juventus right now. So Alfredo Padula has come out and said, not only has Juventus upped their bid for Jadon Sancho and now has put a £15 million bid on the table for Sancho, but he is also saying that there is now full agreement with Jadon Sancho and Juventus on the contract's personal terms. Honestly, I'm just waiting for someone to come out and say this is complete nonsense and hasn't happened. No one has yet, and it was circulating pretty much yesterday afternoon and going into this morning as well, and more people have picked up on it now. But the news, first of all, on Jadon Sancho, 15 million quid. Take it and run, if true. Alfredo Padula has said that the agreement with Jadon Sancho is in place. The personal terms are there. Now, whether or not we go back to that story from yesterday about the the severance pay being paid by Manchester United and this now moving forward from that point, I don't know if the two are linked. Honestly, it's a different report, but severance pay paid, if let's just say, for instance, that was paid, then Juventus are clear to go in and negotiate with Jadon Sancho and he can get that deal done. An extra $4.5 million in the back pocket of Jadon Sancho, a new contract signed with less tax to pay in Italy than England, probably brings him back up close to where he is actually now at Manchester United in terms of wages earned. And that, I'm just saying, is off the back of what Padula has said here, in that personal terms are agreed. Full agreement in place. It's a big shout. That is a big, big shout from a journalist right now when this has been shot down so far by Fabrizio Romano. Look, Damasio has said that Manchester United and Juventus are still talking. So has Romano. So I'm not saying that this is not a true story or this isn't real. I'm just looking at it and going, it's big to say that the agreement is in place on personal terms, particularly after what Manchester United have known Jadon Sancho is like and what we've had to deal with so far in these last couple of transfer windows. So that would mean that, and he also said on this at Alfredo Padula, that Juventus now are going to finalise the deal with Manchester United after personal terms were agreed. So that apparently is 15 million. So that's been upped from, I think, 12 or something like that. 15 million pounds sterling. So that's up around, what, 17, 18 million euros or something like that, I think it is, give or take. I don't think United would like it. I don't think Manchester United would want to take that, but this would be the first signing clear of off the books completely. So how does this benefit Manchester United? Well, Jadon Sancho is on a contract which is worth over 10 million a year in wages. That's gone. There is no more transfer fee to pay for Jadon Sancho. That has gone. So you could say what Manchester United were paying over the last 4 years, 24, 25 million at least in terms of transfer instalments and wages to Jadon Sancho, gone. Now, Manchester United books then are open for someone to come in and replace that. Now, let's not forget, if Manchester United do get 15 million or accept 15 million for Jadon Sancho, that leaves us with, so far this summer, transfer fees raised. And this isn't even including the money we made off the Asian tour, by the way. But just on player sales and player sell-on sales, as in Oyedele, Alvaro Fernandez and Anthony Elanga, if you look at them and Jadon Sancho's fee, that's what, approximately 36 million quid brought in and 25 million less off the books in terms of payments going forward for Manchester United. So that would give United the perfect opportunity to go out and buy a mega player if they wanted. Now, everyone's like, how can you just have 36 million and then go out and buy a mega player? Well, for instance, like we've always said before, when you look at amortizing and when you look at PSR and what it costs to bring in a player, for instance, Liverpool have brought in a player for over 100 million in Florian Wirtz. His wages are astronomical as well, somewhere in the region, I think between 15 and 20 million. The whole package for him works out about $250 million, I think it was. Maybe not that much. It's just over 200 million with agents' fees as well for Florian Wirtz. And I'm just using this as an example. That was broken down in detail, and what that is costing Liverpool is 40 million. That's amortizing it. That there is how much it is PSR-wise a season. Now, if you bring in a player like that, you're going to have some back in there. New stadium, more revenues, Champions League money, and player sales also on top of that for Liverpool. They can afford Florian Wirtz. But it just goes to show you exactly where we're at. If United sell Sancho, there's nothing left to pay on that contract. His debt is cleared. The transfer is paid in full. There is 25 million a year there's free. You've got 36 million in available cash to you right now with the sales that we've made already this summer. You see what I mean? You can go and buy a Sesko, or you can go and bid for an Ekatike. You could, in fact, even go and get a Victor Osimhen if you wanted. We're not going to, because United are just not going to pay someone that wages anymore. But this is where you bring in Benjamin Sesko, and do you try and get a player like that? So that's where we're at with Jadon Sancho, and I think that is encouraging, but don't get don't get too excited about it, is all I'm saying, because it could be shot down very quickly, the Sancho one. We've had it before. We've had it pretty much for the last month now, haven't we? With movement from Juventus and Manchester United. So I feel like we're in a position here where we just have to look at it and go, right, Conceição is done. Are Juventus now going to move for United? That bid looks realistic to me. Could we get an update on this going forward? Sancho is back at Carrington. United just want him gone. Maybe we're pushing this forward. We had the news about the severance pay being paid. Maybe we're getting there. Maybe. It is a massive maybe as well, because, like I said before, it's bleeding Jadon Sancho. That's the biggest problem we've got in all of this. Okay, let's get some more comments on this. Are you confident that this news is what we're reading and Jadon Sancho is close to the exit door? Super chat in from Brits Abroad says, at the next home game, fans should take in an old shirt, then throw them on the pitch, as a demonstration, and wear a T-shirt underneath saying "Rats out" with a picture of Radcliffe with the rat's face. That's very detailed, mate, that one. Everyone get into the chat. Do you agree with that idea from Brits Abroad? Should everyone in the stands be doing that? By the way, the poll on Nicolas Jackson, nearly 2,000 votes. Would you take Nicolas Jackson at Manchester United? That was our top story on the show this morning. I'll go over everything at the end of the show if you have just joined us and have missed anything. 76% of you have said no to Nicolas Jackson. 2,000 votes. Madness. Thank you for the likes, everybody, already on the video. Please keep giving the video a like if you're loving the content. Stick a thumbs up on it. Hit that subscribe button as well if you haven't already. On the march to 100k now. Ooh, getting exciting. Let's get some comments in. Do you feel confident on Jadon Sancho? I heard Florian Wirtz is getting 400k per week. We have Casemiro earning 350, doing nothing. Not exactly nothing, Al. I mean, that's a bit harsh on Casemiro. He has performed better than some players in that squad who are on a lot of money as well. I get what you're trying to say there, and I get the example you're making, Al, but I don't think we can say that Casemiro's doing nothing. He's an actual professional, by the way, and could actually see out all 4 years of his contract, which is strange as well, which is... Well, actually, it's not at the moment, because you get a lot of Man United players actually just seeing out their contracts because nobody wants to come off the wages. Markash says the tours and other income will just replace the money lost from not being in Europe, etc. Doesn't mean it all gets added to transfer budget, Adam. It's a shout, but can't see it being accurate. No, mate, I didn't say we're going to spend all of it, though, did I? That's what I'm saying. If you can buy a £100 million player on 200 grand a week and it costs you 20 million, and you've got 36 million sat there with a big contract gone from Jadon Sancho, you can go out and buy a big player. Because that's what it costs to bring in a player worth 100 million and pay him 200 grand a week wages. 20 million a season. It's up for United to negotiate that. Obviously, in the instalment section of that deal, but it's doable. I'm not saying spend it all, remember. I'm talking about one player here, mate. So if you cannot get one player with that, then we are screwed, buddy. But that basically is the breakdown of it. You can go out and buy a player. This is when we were talking about Ekitike, we were talking about it this way and saying that United can afford him if they want to do it. The problem we've got is I just don't see Manchester United doing it. I don't think we want to spend that much money. I think we want to bring the wage bill down. I think we want to bring in players that are going to contribute consistently and get rid of the players that are just floating around on stupid amounts of money, and then go forward from there, and then build from the base up. But it is going to be on players in and around 200 grand a week and no more for players coming in for Manchester United, because we're not going to go out and buy that superstar, which is why we're not going to get Osimhen. They don't want to break that 200 grand a week mark for players that they have brought in. And nobody that Manchester United has brought in so far under Ineos is on more than 200k a week. Not one player. The closest is De Ligt. I think he's on 190 something. That's it. There's no one over 200 grand a week at United from what's been brought in. Obviously, we've got the old players, which we're talking about now. We're trying to move on. Bruno Fernandes was given a new deal. Ineos were in charge. Maybe they will reward players that are consistent. That might be something that's going to happen in the future and a sign of things to come. But that's how they've approached it so far. I don't actually think United will ever go out and buy an absolute superstar, world-class player. as in like one of these players that we're talking about now. I don't think we're going to do what Liverpool have done. I don't think we're going to do what Chelsea have done, or Manchester City, or even Arsenal to that degree, like 70 million for Gyökeres. I just don't see United doing that anymore. Not for a long time. Not until we are where them clubs are at, which is consistently competing in the Champions League. Casemiro is here for 12 more months. He'll be an integral part of our season. It more than likely will, mate. Thanks for that super chat, man. Mr Anonymous says that we've been struck by a smooth criminal. As in Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I don't know. James from Martinez said we still have some money to pay off on Sancho this year. Not saying he's right or wrong. Just don't know if it's clear that we have paid him off. Look, in June 2025, Manchester United still owes 17 million on Jadon Sancho. It depends when the payments are paid for the players. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said in that interview with Gary Neville that Manchester United were paying out about 89 million before we even started July. I'm guessing Jadon Sancho's payment was there, and that would make it 5 payments for Jadon Sancho if his last payment was in this summer, as in this transfer window. So I think it might have actually been paid. We did owe it in June, though. We did still owe 17 million, which would be the last payment for Jadon Sancho. So yeah, it's a bit murky waters, but there was one outstanding payment for him, which pretty much would be cleared with this transfer fee coming in. And even if you look at that, United have got Jadon Sancho off the books and can bring someone else in. I don't think we're going to go anywhere near what we paid for Jadon Sancho. So, for instance, Jadon Sancho on nearly 250 grand a week wages. We paid 75 million quid for him. Can you imagine Man United doing that? That realistically is never going to happen. If you bring in a 40 million pound player on 150 grand a week wages, that then could be looked at in the region of what? 12 to 15 million a year. So there is room to actually use the money we've got from Sancho, even if we're paying off what we owe, still on the annual accounts and bringing another player. That's where we're at with it. What got us in to 15th position in the league last season, the players' only consistent performances were from defence and Ahmad. Bruno, to a certain degree as well, in that I will throw in there. Right, moving on again. More news coming out. Next story on the agenda this morning. And keep your comments coming on everything else. Again, we're talking about we have talked about this before. And I still cannot understand how Manchester United are looking at this player. Estepinian. Again, we've talked about him because we have been linked with him before. But Alex Crook from TalkSport has been talking about this, and I've heard Ben Jacobs also talk about this. See, Manchester United are interested in signing Brighton's Pervis Estepinian, left back, left wing. Like, where is he going to fit in? I don't get it. Where is he going to fit in at Manchester United? Unless there's an idea that he could be pushed further forward. I don't get it. You've got Dorgu, you've got Amas, you've got Leon at left wing back right now. Dalot can play there as well. There is no need to go and spend any money on Estepinian from Brighton. He's Premier League proven, experienced. Apparently he probably would be cheap because Brighton want to offload him. 2 years left on his contract. Again, I don't get this one. I don't get why we would be looking to strengthen the left-hand side when we've already got 3 players there right now. It's not a necessary transfer for Manchester United. I would be shocked. I'd be staggered if Manchester United went and spent decent money on an actual left back when we need to spend it on other players in more important positions on the pitch. That I think is more important than anything. So realistically, I feel Manchester United do like the player. Ruben must like him to be going in on him. I just don't get this stuff. But there is genuine interest, apparently, from Manchester United in him. And again, this is one that, so let's just see what happens towards the back end of the window. It could be one of them crazy ones that just pops up at the end. United start to move players out, and all of a sudden, we start to bring players in that we don't expect. I just don't get it. It's just my honest opinion on it. Looking at where United are at, looking at what we've got, and what our options are right now, go and get the players we need. You need an 8, you need a keeper, and you need a striker. You need a spine. That's what you need. Forget the wing-backs at the moment. We are okay. I'm not saying they are the best of the best, but I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with that position than I am with the 8, with the striker and the goalkeeper. That's where I'm at anyway. I mean, you tell me, do we need to go out and buy a left wing-back? Do we need to go out and buy someone for the wing-back position right now? Is that unnecessary for Man United? Get into the chat and talk to me about that one, everybody. Let's see where the Nicolas Jackson poll is at. Oh, God, we're nearly up to 2,500. Let's see if we can get 3,000 votes on Nicolas Jackson. Would you take him at Man United? 76% of the vote is saying not a chance. Sling your hook. A lot of people are voting on that in what other people have said in the chat before, that just don't do business with Chelsea again. Like, sod off Chelsea. That's what I think a lot of people's opinion on that is. And you've got a player there that really hasn't... he's not really performed well in the Premier League so far. Nicolas Jackson, again, I think that one's going to be a big no, a majority no by the end of the show. But get into the poll and let me know, everybody. Doggo will cover right wing back as well as left wing back. Leon and Estepinian is the best out of them. Shaw must go. Again, you forget about Luke Bleeding Shaw. Oh, God, it keeps popping up, doesn't it? Look, Dorgu can play left wing. You've got Ahmad, you've got Dalot, who can play right wing back. You've got Dorgu, Leon, and Amas, who can play left wing back. Dalot can even play left wing back. And Dorgu can cover right wing back with Ahmad and Dalot as well. We don't need this player. We don't. Look, I'm not saying that he isn't better than what we've got. He might actually be better than what we've got. He's a good player, Estepinian, but I need the other players first. I need the other players. I need the other positions doing. Like, it's not a major concern. It really isn't. Martinez looks like a beast, but Ruben knows one more injury to him. We lack depth there. Has still got nothing to do with the left wing-back position, Manido, on that. When it comes to centre-back this season, what have you got? You've got Yoro, you've got Heaven, you've got Martinez, you've got Maguire. You've got Mazraoui, you've got Luke Shaw, and you've got Matthias de Ligt. I've just named 7 centre-back options for Manchester United for 3 positions. 7. We don't need a centre-back. We don't need a right wing-back right now, if we're looking at a priority anyway. There is nothing there, I don't think, anyway. But keep talking to me, everyone. Get into the chat. Block says, tell me 100 million player who would come to United. Well, he doesn't have to be of that value, mate. A 100 million pound player right now, what is that? There is none out there, really. There's a few. Like, a 100 million pound player is Florian Wirtz. I'm saying Manchester United, I'm using the 100 million as an example, Sean, actually. So if a 100 million pound player on 200 grand a week could cost you 220 million a year on PSR, why don't we go and get a 50 million decent player and pay him less than 200 grand a week and get that done instead? That's what I'm using as the example. And that can be done for Manchester United. 100% it can. If you sold Jadon Sancho anyway, it would be an open season for bringing in a decent player. It really would. Anyone asking about the shirts? Again, my retro kits, the website that I found these on, one of the mods will drop the link in the description in just a moment for you all. I'll pin it there for you as well. 15 quid, top retro kits, and some made up special ones as well. Get on there, everybody. £15, dead good. Loads have bought them already and are good quality as well. Go check it out. The link will be in there in just a moment's time as well. Let's get a few more comments in on the right wing-back position, left wing-back position. You missed the point, Adam. The left-sided centre-back is key. That's the difference to the right wing-back. More misprinting, more misinterpreting the positions. Left centre-back, Yoro, Shaw, Heaven. I'm sorry, mate. We're completely covered there. Leacher. You got right side. You've got Mazraoui. You've got... Yoro can play there as well. Honestly, mate, no. We don't need another centre-back in right now. Maybe next season, yes, but not now, mate. I get it. I get what you're trying to say. But what we're looking at here is Manchester United needing 8 centre strikers more than anything. That's the most important thing, not the position. Not the position. We do need to get more depth. We do need more cover. I don't. There's a point here actually where I'm thinking Martinez might actually not be first choice going into this season. If you said to me we're starting off this season with Mazraoui, Yoro, or even this one, De Ligt, Yoro, and Heaven, I'd be over the moon with that defence. And then you've got Mazraoui, Leacher, and Maguire on the bench, and Shaw on the bench. I would be completely at ease with that team being on the pitch for Manchester United. I don't think Leacher is a definite starter anymore. It's my opinion. I don't. I think he's good and he's fighting for his position. He's right up there as one of our top centre-backs, but I don't think he's guaranteed a place in Man United's side. That's what I think anyway. Last night when we spoke about... sorry, I'm just trying to find the story again here now. Last night when we spoke about Emi Martinez, about another 5 sources have come out on this, now claiming, even this morning, that this is actually genuinely happening. So I'm just going to read through the stories that have just come out now, actually, as well. Manchester United have entered formal negotiations to sign Emilio Martinez. Both the club and the player are keen to get the deal done. Aston Villa are holding out for 40 million, while United are aiming to agree a deal closer to 33 million. Ruben Amorim has personally requested that Manchester United sign Emilio Martinez. Aston Villa are open to negotiating the deal as a gesture of appreciation and respect for the goalkeeper. Now that's come out. That's coming out from Argentinian sources. That's coming all from South America, as well as a few European ones jumping on this now also. But it has just gone more and more and more. From the Daily Mail last night saying that some Manchester United players are actually know that Manchester United are going all out for Emi Martinez, to the story last night that we spoke about with Gaston Adul, a Argentinian journalist, saying that Manchester United are in talks. It's then gone more and more and more into other people talking about this. There is, and what looks like, genuine legs now with the Emi Martinez story. We'll wait for Fabrizio to come out later on. Whether this has got game in it or legs in it, we don't know yet. Let's just wait it out and see on it. But all I'm saying here is that these stories on Emi Martinez just keep on coming and are not stopping. So again, let's just see how it develops over the next few days. And let's just see if we do end up seeing Manchester United make an approach for Emi Martinez. Again, the goalkeeper is up there as one of my top positions. I've got no issue with this transfer whatsoever. I think United should be looking at a goalkeeper. I just don't think we can play out the season with that clowning goal, Andre Onana. Some will say, yes, the clown could be Emi Martinez next season. I get the point where people are saying he could be on the decline. He's an older goalkeeper. I get everyone's opinions on this. But what you have got here is a player that can sweep better than any goalkeeper up there. He's brilliant at it, unless he makes a stupid decision on Rasmus Højlund like he did at the end of last season. Look, I'm not saying he hasn't got mistakes in him. Every goalkeeper's got mistakes in him. He is a bit of a loose cannon, attitude-wise, but I just know that this guy's a leader. He's a captain. He's a World Cup winner. He has competed at the highest level, and I just think he's been an outstanding performer. He knows what the Premier League is. He doesn't get ruffled, and I just think he can control his defence a lot more. And the biggest thing is, when you've got a good defence as United have got, which I think we do have, and I just explained there, the 7 centre-backs United have got, and the wing-backs that we now got in position, when you've got a goalkeeper which is actually in control of his defence like Emi Martinez is. You can talk about everything else, but we're looking here at what I think is one of Man United's best setups at the back, option-wise for us, going forward here. We've got the youngsters in Yoro and Aiden Heaven that are coming through, both teenagers, ready to walk into that Man United side. You've got the experience of Harry Maguire and De Ligt. De Ligt's still got another 5 years in him at the top level. On top of that, Martinez, Mazraoui's experience as well. And you've got a class goalkeeper like him behind him. Then I just feel like we are moving in a direction that gives United that steely sort of resilience factor at the back again. And you know what? United might be able to play a higher line because we've got a goalkeeper who will come off his bleeding line. And Anna won't do that. And has been an absolute disaster throughout last season and the season before. So that, again, I just feel Manchester United are looking at the character here as well, the leadership qualities and experience of Emi Martinez. I think it's a worthwhile investment. Personally, I do. I really do. Pete says with a super chat, morning Adam and Reds, 2,500 votes in the poll. Let's get a record number of likes on the video, get the positivity in, might rub off on the transfer window. Pete's manifesting there. Go on you, Pete. Get going with that one, mate. Manny says, the facts, Martinez can play out. He has feet, freak reflexes, old head, World Cup. That's something no other Premier League keeper can claim. It's a no-brainer, says Manny. I get it, mate. Well said. I heard Emi makes a lot of mistakes, though perhaps Lemons from Antwerp would be better. Then again, if Villa would want to take Garnacho, we said this last night with the Garnacho one, and could we be about to make a deal where we get a bit more money on top of the Emi Martinez if Garnacho goes the other way? This could help Manchester United a lot. You could get a goalkeeper and maybe even an 8 or a 9. Let's not forget, we're talking about Palhinha, and conversations are still going with Bayern Munich on João Palhinha as well. That could come off in midfield. And by the end of the window, all of a sudden, United might have them 3 other players in as well as Mbumo. And again, judge the window when it's finished. It's frustrating right now, and I would like players in for tour, pre-season, and the start of the season. But fully expected, as I said from the start, this window could go south, it could go north quickly in the space of a week. We just got to be prepared for it. Right now, July has been a washout. It's been so miserable and so hard to talk about with other clubs doing their business. And we are not as organised and don't have as much money as other clubs. And this was the thing I was accepting all along. The players that United have got that don't want to be there, that United don't want, are not going to go until the latter stages of the window. Unless something make weight wise or United dropping their expectations happens. Are we about to see that in Sancho? Are we about to see that potentially with a move with Garnacho going to Villa? I don't know. We will see on it, won't we? We will indeed. Block with another super chat. Thank you, mate. Great show, Adam. Just got to work in a happy mood due to no Mbumo talk. A much nicer we say to start my day. A much nicer way to start my day. Looking forward to a cold one at Arsenal. Always, mates. Thank you for that block. Legend, buddy. All right, everyone. That pretty much finishes up the show. Thank you, everyone, again. All of your comments, everyone who super chatted. The link in the live chat is to the shirts, the retro shirt. Grab your retro shirt now there if you're loving the ones that I am wearing. Cheap and real good quality as well, everyone. So check it out. Link is there. Also, as well, everyone, make sure that you do pop your comments in after the live is finished. That's important. Get in the comments section and give me your thoughts on Jackson, Emi Martinez, on Estepinian, on Jadon Sancho, on Brian Mbumo. The news on Brian Mbumo, by the way, isn't so much on Brian Mbumo, but Brentford are about to break their transfer record to buy Amari Hutchinson, who plays in a very similar position to Brian Mbumo. Are we seeing signs of Brentford actually bringing in a replacement, a genuine replacement for Brian Mbumo here? That's the story that we're talking about there. Please give the video a like on the way out. We have smashed over the 500 live like mark again. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on the march. 100k is in the distance, everybody. Can we get there? Please subscribe. It helps the channel out. It's completely free. I love you all and have a great day. I'll be back with all of the updates as the day goes on. Stay tuned and let's see what happens from all of these stories from today's show.